For more on this, we're also being joined by Professor Amtzia Barum, who is a professor at the Department of the History of West Asia at the University of Haifa in Israel. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Good morning.
Morning. My question to you is that, is Netanyahu all set to withdraw his controversial judicial overhaul bill? And if yes, then why now?
Well, if Netanyahu is still thinking rationally, and there is an if here, he will announce that the legislation process is being halted, postponed, maybe for a few weeks, in order to enable the opposition to engage in negotiations with the coalition and reach a widely accepted reform which many believe is necessary. Not the way it's being done now, and not to the extent it's being done now. The problem that he has is, if he decides to continue the thrust towards completing the enactment plan, three of his coalition parliament members will vote against it. But even if that happens, he still has 61 against 59. So he can still pass. He can still pass the coalition, the legislation as he wants. Still, that's the case. The point is that two of his coalition members are sort of very hesitant what to do. So if those two against, then in fact, he will no longer be prime minister. So he has to find out what's happening there. Furthermore, if he, with Knesset or parliamentary majority, very slight majority, 61, against 59. If he still decides to pass the next law today, sometime later today, the Israeli economy and society, not the Israeli voters, they are 50-50 more or less, but the Israeli economy and society will use not a nuclear bomb. It's not going to be a Hiroshima type. It's going to be a doomsday hydrogen bomb. Already the international airport is closed down.
Right.
And strikes are everywhere. University are on strikes, schools are on strikes, industry is on strike.
Right, just to interrupt there, sir. Now, like you mentioned, that there seems to be cracks appearing within Netanyahu's coalition, especially in light of the sacking of the defense minister by Netanyahu. I want to seek your perspective that, are there cracks starting to show in the ruling coalition? Because we've seen how Israel's economy minister and also the sports and culture minister, they've clearly said that Netanyahu should withdraw the judicial reform bill, and if that happens, they will be supporting him.
No, they will not. In the Knesset vote, in the parliamentary vote, they'll vote against him. Three of them, three cabinet ministers, yes. He has another problem. If he insists on replacing the cabinet, the Minister for Defense, Gallant, who spoke against the plan yesterday, if that's what he does, he'll have a huge problem, maybe insoluble problem, with the military, with the Israeli Defense Force, the chief of staff, and the head of the Mossad, and the head of the Israeli FBI, Shin Bet, all asked the Minister of Defense to speak against continuing the legislation. They asked him, they met with him, and looking at their own establishment below them, they are very worried. So they asked him to speak up. He spoke up as they asked him to do. And if Bibi insists on sacking him, he announced it, but he hasn't yet sent him a signed letter. If he insists on sacking him, all three, and that's the Israeli security establishment, will be in deep, deep trouble, because to accept any replacement, Bibi Leki will be so humiliating for them and for their organizations. God forbid.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us and WION and sharing your insights with us. Thanks very much.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.